Wireless.
Are you wanting to learn more about your health and wellness options in Central Illinois? Visit stealthwellness.com or click on my banner ad at DeWittDailyNews.com. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, show you some simple, under-the-radar ways to improve and take control of your health.
This is Brett Zerfowski with Central Cremation Center. We have expanded our business and now offer private pet cremations to memorialize your loyal companion. Find out more about us by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
There's an issue cutting through the bipartisan bickering in Congress. It's AM radio. The overwhelming majority of legislators, Democrats and Republicans, support a bill to keep AM radio in cars. But time is running out. Text AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to the floor for a vote now. AM radio is too important to let this moment pass us by.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW AM, FM, and streamed online.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Mr. Adam Ibbotson is the superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools. Good morning, Mr. Ibbotson.
Hey, Seth. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for making time for us as always. Good to have you in studio with us. And I know homecoming week a little later at Maroa. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But let's start today the conversation with, I think I'm going to start having more of these conversations, and I told the last superintendent that I had on the show that's the substitute teacher shortage. I don't know why, but in my head I felt like that had gotten better and things were going well. It doesn't sound like that's the case. Tell us about what's happening in Maroa schools as it relates to that.
We're fortunate to have a pretty good pool of substitutes already, and we've had a majority of our positions get filled, but it's one of those things as the school year starts to evolve, as we have teachers that are out for various reasons, teachers' aides, paraprofessionals. There's just a need to fill those. So we're always looking to recruit other subs, whether it be for a classroom teacher spot or a paraprofessional or aide spot as well, just to help out with school. We can't run the schools without them. Life happens. People have to be gone for various reasons, and we need to fill those. And we're always looking for qualified people who want to be in the district, whether you're a retired teacher and you want to come in and sub, or you're someone who's looking and you've got the qualifications to do it. We're looking for people to fill those roles. And I think for us, as the year progresses on, typically the needs become more as we move into the winter time and we move into the school year. We're always looking for qualified subs to come in and help us out and run the buildings K through 12, really.
Sure. Well, let's start with how does an individual become a substitute teacher?
Well, the first thing that I would do is I would contact our Regional Office of Education. You can reach out to them at 217-872-3721. And you can reach out to the ROE, and they will start you in the process of going through background checks and through your credentials, and if you have the qualifications for short-term sub or long-term subbing. And once that background check and all that paperwork gets processed through, then your name is given to our district on our approved list, and then we can call you as a substitute teacher. So with that process, there may be some licensure things that happens to evaluate what you're qualified for. And we're looking, Seth, not only for classroom teacher subs, but also paraprofessionals. Paraprofessionals are like classroom aides, maybe individual aides. Those positions are vital. Those kids count on those positions to be there. Our administrators and teachers count on those. So you can even apply for a substitute teacher job even as a paraprofessional to work either one-on-one or in a classroom. Those are critical roles, too, that we need to fill really pre-K through 12 in our school district. So once you go through the process to be approved at the ROE, then you get on that sub list, and then we have a sub coordinator at Maroa-Forsyth. Her name's Angela Crow, and she works as a secretary primarily at the grade school, and then she helps fill all the subs for everybody pre-K through 12. And She does an amazing job of organizing that. Thinking about our school and the number of staff members that we have to fill, she does a wonderful job filling those classroom spots. And then if she can't fill them, then what our administrators have to do is they have to either cover or find another teacher to cover on a prep hour or somewhere else just to make it happen. But knock on wood, we get a majority of those filled every day, and that's in due part really to Angela to help coordinate that and our administrators to make it work.
I venture a guess that is a busy full-time job on its own for her.
She's awesome. At Williamsville, I had to find all my own subs as a building principal, so it's really awesome that Angela coordinates that and does that. So just really appreciate her work in this, and she's really detail-orientated, contacts people, puts out the information, and I'm really thankful for her.
For sure. Now, the one question that folks are probably asking if they're interested in becoming a substitute is, Mr. Ibbotson, what does it pay? And, I don't want to teach at X grade level.
Sure.
How about those things?
Yeah, so $115 a day. That's what the sub rate is. It's higher if you're a retired teacher that you can get to. If you want to only be at the grade school, that's totally fine. You can let us know, and Angela could call you to do the grade school. If you only want to do the bigger people, that's totally fine too. If you don't want to do middle school, that's fine. Whatever you think you could fill, we could always use a role there to use you as a substitute teacher. So I think that's, as a sub, you kind of get to control what you want to say yes and no to. So that's a nice thing about it. And if you want to work on certain days, that's okay. It's kind of up to you how you want to work it. But that's the pay. And then there is additional pay for a retired teacher along the way.
Sure. You talked about the need growing as the year goes along, but this early in the school year, a lot of folks listening would think there's no way teachers are getting sick this early. And if they are, it's few and far between. You're probably not seeing a lot of teachers that are sick, but they're missing for more than just sickness. Speak to some of the things that teachers are out for anymore.
Sometimes there's meetings that they go to. Sometimes there's professional development. Sometimes it's their kids. Sometimes it's a meeting they need to go to. Sometimes there's release time that they need for paperwork along the way. There's any number of things that happen to where we need to get people covered. So having a big sub pool of people who want to do that just helps our schools run safely and efficiently. It's just it's something that we really need to keep things rolling throughout the year.
For sure. And to that, I wanted to piggyback and have you speak to, you may be called for a day, 2-3 days, maybe a week ahead of time because of some, you can schedule those things and plan for some of those things. Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you know that you're going to be going to a conference or you know that something's going to happen and you've arranged that with your building administrator and it gets approved, they're able to schedule that and they can set it out there. There's some times where people wake up and like, hey, I can't come to work, or I've got a kid that's sick, or I have something that's going on. That happens too. But yeah, the pre-approved pieces, sometimes they're scheduled, sometimes they're not. We're really looking for quality people to help fill and fill that role to educate our kids.
Will a potential substitute always get a phone call, or are there digital electronic ways to communicate and sign up for those opportunities?
So there is a digital way. There's a program called Frontline. It's what we use at Maroa. So there's if the vacancy gets put out there that, hey, this needs to be filled today. People on the sub list can sign up and they can fill that vacancy or not. And then whatever vacancies don't get filled electronically, then Angela contacts them personally, either through phone calls, texting, whatever else, to make sure and try to get those filled. But substitutes do get an alert. They get signed up to go on Frontline, fill what spots they want to do, and then if we don't get them filled, then we start phone calls, and then if we can't get them filled, then we look to do that internally in the buildings.
How much has that changed, the dynamic of getting subs in and getting those spots filled?
I feel like the ability to do it ahead of time and to be able to sign up, that's important. But I would say probably in experience, we still end up contacting people individually because you may miss the notification, you may not. But if you're on it and you're a regular sub and you see that third grade popped up in a classroom, then you can sign up for it if you want to. If you don't want to sign up for the 8th grade spot, you don't have to. So I think there's kind of a mixture, but I do know that we have to contact people and just say, hey, are you interested, if they don't get filled electronically.
Mr. Adam Ibbotson is the superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools, my guest in studio today as we talk about the substitute teacher shortage. And so, Mr. Ibbotson, when you talk about that, I know a lot of districts have gone to increasing their pay and yearly looking over that number that they're giving their substitutes. substitutes, maybe even offering some sort of an incentive during the school day. Speak to what, I don't know how much you know about it, but what do you know about what Maroa has done in the past to do that?
I feel like the 115 that we've went up, I know the substitute pay has went up over time periods in all districts, including Maroa at this point. And we do have a pretty good sub pool. We have several retired teachers who come in and work in places, and we have a good pool of people. So if we ever experienced a massive shortage, I think we would look at whether that number would need to go up. I know in other school districts, they've had to up their number to be higher just to attract people. We're still attracting people. My call is just to see what else can we do to broaden our pool of people to be available along the way.
What does that look like? What do you need to do, or what can you do to broaden that?
So I think things like this, talking about it, giving it some awareness. How do you get to the process? Talking to families about it. I know sometimes even like teachers or administrators will have informal conversations like, hey, are you looking for something, or is it something you don't want to be working full-time? Sometimes retired teachers will reach out. A lot of times it's that personal contact, or they hear about it or want to know how to do it. That's a way to do that. Advertising for us on our website for job postings that are out there. That's a way to recruit. And I think just even being just visible and putting this out in the forefront of people's minds is a good way to try to recruit along the way.
Yeah, and I'm curious, what do you think the challenge has become in getting substitutes? Is it, what is keeping people from doing this that you think?
It's part-time. It's something that you've got to be in the right space in your life to be able to do, because you've got to be ready. You don't know what classroom you're going to go into. You've got to have a flexible schedule. You've got to have the desire to want to walk in and work at a school, and the day changes every day. Most people are needing more steady employment that's not going to be one day I'm in third grade, one day I'm in seventh grade, or maybe I don't get called in a day. People are looking for steady pieces of work. So a lot of times we'll find retired teachers, we'll find people who are looking for part-time, but they don't want to be fully committed because of their life stage at that point. I think that's what makes it tougher, because you're trying to pull from a smaller group of people, where most people are looking for full-time, 5 days a week, regular work schedule that's predictable. And subbing it's kind of its own little niche a little bit. And I think that makes it challenging. The pay of $115 for us, I know other districts may pay a little bit more, some a little less. Usually there's a local connection. A lot of people who are going to sub at Maroa-Forsyth are either living in our communities, maybe they are related or connected somehow, and they have a desire to be there, like I talked about retired teachers. That was the same case at Williamsville-Sherman. A lot of our subs were people who were connected to the district. So really just reaching out to those people and surrounding communities like Clinton, Decatur, Argenta, Warrensburg, places around.
I threw this to the one of the soups I talked to last week about the substitute teacher shortage, and I think I wonder if a lot of people have the image of the silly sitcom where kids are jumping off the desk and throwing things, and the teacher's got to say 7 or 8 times quiet down, class has started. Speak to your kids and the quality of kids in your buildings.
When I walk through our hallways, if I didn't really know it, you wouldn't know a substitute teacher was in there. I mean, that really speaks to our kids, and teachers have prepared plans. I know as a former teacher, it was more work to put sub-plans together to actually be there. It was tough. But our teachers do a great job of laying out those plans. Our kids are respectful. They're going to come treat you with respect. And if you have issues, our administrators are going to help take care of that for you. But it's really incredible to see our substitute teachers walk in. That's why they come back. They come back because they're treated well, they're treated with respect, it's a great environment to be in, and I think that really draws people into it. And if you've never experienced it and never tried it, then you don't really know that. You may have some sort of preconceived notion that, oh, this is what it's going to be like. It's not like that. Our kids at Maroa-Forsyth are great kids. Our teachers do a great job getting everything set up. Not that it's perfect, but our kids do a great job, and our teachers do a great job setting the stage for a successful experience.
One more time, how do folks learn about becoming a sub?
They can reach out to the ROE at 217-872-3721, and they can start that process of getting on the sub list, and then we'll go from there.
Mr. Adam Ibbotson is the superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools, our guest in studio. More to come on The Morning Show.
WHOW.
You were right.
You were right.
You were right.
Well, you were right. When you choose your seed brand, there's winning, and then there's...
You were right. Should have gone with Brevant seeds.
When you choose Brevant seeds, You don't just win, you get to be right. Don't just win, win. Talk with your retailer or visit Brevant.com/win to get started.
In addition to great radio marketing, the Miller Media Group now offers a full suite of digital marketing solutions. Our affordable programs include custom web design and SEO to help you get found on Google. Seeking more inbound web and store traffic? Our Facebook, YouTube, and geo-targeted marketing programs are all designed to make your cash register ring. To get started, call your Miller Media account manager or go to mmgdigitalnow.com. Miller Media Digital, where digital becomes local.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online 24 hours a day.
Are you wanting to learn more about your health and wellness options in Central Illinois? Visit stealthwellness.com or click on my banner ad at DeWittDailyNews.com. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, show you some simple, under-the-radar ways to improve and take control of your health.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. Ugh, it's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. Mr. Adam Ibbotson is the superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools, my guest in studio today. And Mr. Ibbotson, let's dive into the substitute teacher need, but also bus driver need. How about bus drivers?
Well, we got to have substitutes. We got to have people to fill in those classroom spots, but more importantly, we got to get the kids to school. So being a bus driver is absolutely huge. We have an amazing set of drivers in the district. I met with them a few weeks ago, and we talked. I got some snacks and refreshments for them, and just said thank you for what you're doing, what you do to keep kids safe. And we're fortunate to have a great set of drivers at Maroa-Forsyth. However, it's like substitute teachers. It's like trying to fill those spots. We're always looking for drivers. The requirements to be a bus driver: that CDL test, you got to take a written test. There's numbers of hours of driving that have to happen with that. There's a lot of requirements to go with it. If you are interested, we have a big banner up on 51 right at Highway 20 or the County Road 20 that talks about recruiting for Maroa-Forsyth bus drivers. We start at $22.77 an hour. But if you've got experience being a driver, let's say that you're in another place and you want to come to Maroa, there's more money if you have experience that can be prorated that way. You're guaranteed 3 hours a day to pay along the way. And we have a $1,000 sign-on bonus if you want to come on and drive.
Wow.
To be there. We also provide training available. Amy Flock is our assistant transportation coordinator. Eric Young is our transportation coordinator. They help set up that training, and we have a driver. Her name's Jackie Runyon. She helps train some of our drivers. Mm-hmm. We provide training and kind of tutoring along the way because the test is pretty hard. Mm-hmm. Anybody that has their CDL knows that it's pretty challenging, but we're looking for quality drivers. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out and call the unit office at 217-877-2023, and you can talk to Eric Young, our transportation director, and he can help you get set up. That could be a sub driver. That could be a route driver. We're even looking for extracurricular trips, like these sporting events that we have. We offer a ton of activities. Well, those kids got to get there. Mm-hmm. So we even offer extracurricular routes at $21 an hour if you want to go on an extracurricular trip. Mm-hmm. We're looking for those people. Maybe you don't want to drive a route during the day, but hey, you want to take the volleyball team to Meridian tonight, or you want to go somewhere else and take the band to a contest. Mm-hmm. We're looking for those kind of people. Yeah. So if you're interested in being a bus driver, we are definitely interested in that and have several incentives out there. I don't think we can have enough because there's so many things to go on.
Right.
But if you're interested, that's how you can do it.
What do you do in the event you don't have enough bus drivers in a given day?
Well, sometimes I've had to work with Eric and our athletic director, Phil Appleby. Sometimes we've changed the start time here or there, especially during that fall sports season where we have junior high softball, we've got junior high baseball, we've got transportation happening with a co-op with Warrensburg Latham for soccer, some tennis we have going on. We have all these different activities going on, and sometimes we've pushed start times back a little bit. Sometimes we've utilized some of our smaller activity buses. Sometimes we've used a school van. Sometimes we've waited for a driver to get back from a route to do it. We are going to do whatever we can to provide as many opportunities for kids as possible, and Phil and Eric and our crew do a great job of trying to make that happen.
And again, where do folks go to learn about that opportunity?
217-877-2023. That's the unit office. You can ask for Eric Young, and he can help you get set up and get rolling.
Easy enough. It's homecoming week, Mr. Ibbotson. Awfully late for homecoming.
Weird for homecoming. Yeah, week 9. So we are having homecoming week this week. Grade school, middle school, high school, all joining in on the celebrations with different dress-up days and themes throughout the week. Just to remind everyone that we had to move homecoming because we ended up with Riverton not having a game, and we had to travel on the road to Dwight that week. So we were able to pick up a game, but we had to move homecoming. So all of our festivities are this week. So some of the highlights that are happening, October 23rd, we'll have a Powder Puff football game, which is a tradition at Maroa-Forsyth at 7, with a bonfire to follow after that. The 25th is the game. Prior to the game, there'll be an assembly at the high school for those kids in the middle school, and there'll be a parade around Maroa that they've traditionally had, and then the game kicks off against New Berlin at 7 o'clock. The Maroa-Forsyth Archives thinking about that group and the foundation, they will be having a tent there that day at the football game. They'll have several things. Tina Horvey does a great job with our foundation and archives, highlighting some of the history in Maroa-Forsyth schools. That will be available that night. So just excited to see the fun happen. This is my first time watching it happen and seeing it. A lot of school spirit, a lot of excitement. We've had a great football season so far, and looking forward to the game on Friday night.
Yeah, so how much did having to put off homecoming, did it change logistically? I mean, I'm sure things like Powder Puff and the bonfire, that's easy to reschedule, but other things maybe not so much. How about that?
We were nervous about, so we're really cramming it all together. So it's also senior night because it's the last home football game. So senior night's happening with homecoming. We've had to adjust that. I'm a little nervous about the weather for the tent for the foundation and archives, but it looks like the weather's going to hold out and be fine. So we had to move that around. Some reunions often happen around the homecoming time period where they get together. Some had them that week 5 around the Dwight time still. Others have moved to this time. So I appreciate everyone's working through this. Mr. Appleby, Mr. Stewart, they've really worked hard at this and all of our co-curricular and extracurricular groups, so it's been really fun.
Fantastic. Well, Mr. Ibbotson, where do folks go to follow along with all things Maroa-Forsyth schools, the latest with teacher shortage, need for bus drivers? Where do they find all that?
You can go to our website, mfschools.net. You'll see a pretty robust page that's got things about homecoming, events that are coming up, and you'll also see our Facebook feed there as well on the bottom right.
Sure.
Maroa-Forsyth Schools on Facebook. You can follow us there. That's where you're going to get information from all 3 schools and athletics, all funneled into one page. And that's probably the best way to stay up to date on all things Maroa-Forsyth Trojans.
Enjoy homecoming, Mr. Ibbotson.
Appreciate it, Seth. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you for making it. We, again, thank Mr. Adam Ibbotson, Superintendent of Maroa-Forsyth Schools, for joining us on the morning show, which streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Of course, we stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network News is now.
WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Former President Trump was in Asheville, North Carolina on Monday, offering hope to residents whose lives were turned upside down by flooding and mudslides from Hurricane Helene. Asheville was impacted by Helene just 3 weeks ago. It is still recovering after suffering massive landslides.